How's everybody doing today? My name is Ken Cox with Hosterian, and today this is our very first podcast, and we're calling it Clicks and Bricks. So using online services inside your brick and mortar business or whatever business you're doing. So today we're going to be talking specifically about text messaging. And this is Brian. Brian, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Brian Montgomery Jr. Work here at Hosterian as well as a success manager. And obviously Ken's my co-host, friend, business partner, a lot of things.
A lot of work together.
Right. So I'm really excited to be here and do what we're doing here. Being able to really just create some real value for people with things like real life things that are going on right now. So it's exciting to be a part of something like this.
Yeah. If you're watching live, you have any questions, feel free to hit us up. Today's topic is text messaging in your business. So we want to help people figure out ways to adopt text messaging and get it to their business. But we've decided that we're going to start each episode with Between the Cubicles.
Between the Cubicles.
Abby, the girl that we work with, calls our little bickering between our cubes at the time between cubicles. So we thought it would be cute to name this little segment Between the Cubicles. It's basically just what's going on in life today, right? So not necessarily technology or anything like that.
Right.
Obviously, the big topic today is the elections. We will not talk about politics or religion in this podcast ever, but today we did both vote. Brian, how was your experience?
My experience was delightful, actually. I was really surprised the fact that the line was moving faster than I thought it was going to move.
Right.
I thought, people being in line with their mask on, some people would be hackling people, to get your mask on. But there was none of that going on.
Yeah.
And I'm glad because I did not have my mask on because I was 6 feet away. So I figured it was fine. But
they didn't have the mandate where you were?
When I got to a certain point.
Okay.
Right. So I got to a certain point. That's when they're like, okay, everyone's mask on at this point. So at that point, I put my mask on. But the best part of my voting experience, if you can even have one, because I successfully voted. The best part for me was they offered us free pizza.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So my experience this morning, I went to go vote, and quite honestly, I was driving past the government center in Maryland Heights where I live, and I saw the line. I'm like, holy crap, that is such a long line because it was all the way down, wrapping around the road. Yeah. And I'm like, screw it, because I knew I had a doctor's appointment at 11 o'clock today, which went great. I'm being released for my next stage after my surgery. Woo-hoo. And so I did not vote at that point, and I just came to work. I did my doctor's appointment, and I went by the Civic Center instead of the government center. And the same thing, the line was really long.
Was that your backup place?
It was my backup place. The line was still really long. I got in it, and it only took me 45 minutes to get to the line. They didn't give us pizza, but they did give us cookies. And I was a good boy, and I did not take a cookie. So
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, that's about it. So that's kind of the stuff that we'll talk about in Between the Cubicles, just goofy stuff that's happening in our lives. And we're going to do this show every week. So every Tuesday at 5 p.m., you can tune in and check us out live. And then the following Tuesday, right before we go live, we'll give the edited version out on our website, hosterian.com.
Right.
So now off to our first question. Brian, what's the first question?
So the first question is, this is an anonymous person.
Okay.
Why text message for business? Why? Why should you do it in the first place? That's totally a loaded question, right?
Right. Well, I think the easiest answer is because people check their text messages still.
Right.
Right. If you do email marketing, you can still do email marketing successfully, but it is freaking hard.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
And it just doesn't have the same effect because 10 or 15 years ago, we read every single email. Now, spam filters are pretty good. They're looking for different words and create phrases, and they're automatically going to the junk mail. And along with that, people just don't read their emails, right? They're very skeptical, right?
How many emails do you actually read? Seriously.
I get so many, I can't read them all.
Do you even open them, or do you just go straight to delete?
So I use the swipe function quite a bit. I never delete anything, which is a horrible habit of mine. But I use the swipe function. So I just literally, if it looks like spam, I swipe, and I tell both swipes both ways and just go to archive. So I don't delete it just in case it is real and I might need to go back and find it. So both of my swipes, I automatically archive them to a folder just called unchecked. And
So,
and I just set it up that way. So yeah, I don't read most of them.
how often do you even check your unchecked folders?
The only time I check an unchecked folder is when somebody says, "Hey, I sent you an email. Did you get it?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't." And then I go look. So it's the only time I look in the unchecked.
So I don't really check my emails very often, which is why one of the reasons why doing a text message marketing works. Because I check every one of my texts.
But I would say the caveat there is, why would you text message? Because because the users read them, right? Hands down, they read it. But two, better be very careful and not be spammy with it, because they will block you and then you'll lose all communication with them, right?
That's funny, because that's actually the next question. Let me go back. Our next question Sean.
Okay.
How do you text message for marketing?
Oh, okay. So that's a better question, right? Than this big, why text message? So text messaging for your business, or how to do it.
How do you do it?
So the easy ones, right? Staying top of mind with people are email them that that their invoice is in the mail, or email them or text message them thanking them that you just received a payment is a great one. My favorite use of text messaging, and this is not the topic today, but my favorite use of text messaging is asking for reviews.
That was mine.
That's hands down, because they read it, and if you can get it right. So I'm the president of Hosterian, but I also own a title boxing club in Baldwin, Missouri, and I really focus on whenever somebody, especially if they're new, right, and they're in the business for the first time, mm-hmm. They just had their first workout or whatever, and they're walking out the door, they're probably sitting there thinking about a whole bunch of things. So what we'd like to do then is, as soon as they get in their car, I want that text messaging hitting them saying, "Hey, you just had this great experience inside this business. Would you mind giving us a review?" Right? So they get it in their text message, they're going to read it, it pops up, they don't ignore them during the day, and then you're also getting reviews. So that's what's up, Christina?
Yeah,
that's my favorite use for text messaging in business, is asking for a review. But I think long term, this is going to get more and more in depth.
I got a follow up question for that. Okay, because like that, I think you touched on a lot of points. And for our users, I really want you guys to really like hone in on what question I'm about to ask now.
Okay. Well, another one is appointments. Reminding people of appointments, and in interviews too. So any kind of appointment, but if you text somebody about their appointment, a reminder 24 hours, and then just an hour before the appointment, your success rate or adhesion rate for getting that meeting to actually happen skyrockets, right? So even in the interviewing process, if you're a hiring manager or whatever, and we've got this really fancy system with Zoom and Calendarly or Start Booking or whichever one we're using for the time, that they sign up, they agree to the interview, and a text message to them that they're coming to the interview, and it increased our interview retention by thousands, right? I mean, we used to book five interviews in an hour, and one of them would show up.
Right.
Now we book them at 15-minute intervals, and almost 100% of them show up because of text messaging. Yeah.
That's huge, right? But my follow-up question, though, right, is that walk me through the psychology on why seeing that text message when people are leaving the club, why that's so impactful. Like, what do you think like the user's going through when they receive that text message?
Well, somebody just did business with you, right? There's a lot of things that are happening inside their brain. Hopefully, if everything happened right,
it's a good experience.
Hopefully, it's a good experience. Their endorphins are high. They just got something that they wanted. They feel good about themselves.
Yeah.
They made a decision. They executed on it, and they want the world to know that, right? So this gives you a way to ask them for that review, and then they get to tell the world. And it's not them, bragging about themselves or anything. It's something you ask them to do, and it gives them permission to shout to the world that they just bought your product or used your service, right? So they get, and it humanizes the store as well. So
perfect. People
think that text messaging is for personal use, right? It's not for the business use, right?
But that is personal.
It becomes personal, right?
For your business, it is personal. For that person, that is a personal connection that you're making. Because when they have all that energy, you need an outlet.
Right.
And you provide that outlet with that text message at that moment when they have.
Well, I think it's relevant if it's they just left the gym or they just bought a piece of clothing that they think they really like, or shoes, right?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, when I buy stuff, I can't wait to tell someone that I bought it, for one.
Right.
Especially if I got a deal. The second thing is I can't wait to wear it.
Right.
So if I get a message like right afterwards talking about it, I'm like, oh man, what outfit I'm going to put this together with? Like, well, how I'm going to be when I get ready to rock
I was shocked that in today's world, I walk out of my doctor's office and I get a text message asking how my appointment went. Right.
That shocks you now?
It shocks me that happens, but when I leave Foot Locker, I don't get a text message asking me how I enjoyed my new Adidas or K-Swiss, right? Whatever it is, whatever I just bought. If I'm walking out of Foot Locker, I'm shocked now that I'm not getting those messages from more people already, because it creates an environment that I appreciate my salesperson.
Yeah. And it's weird. It's weird you say that, because my personal experience with text messaging and business and whatnot is that I almost expect it.
Well, but there was a time that you used to think it was bad, right? Brian was in insurance.
Yes.
Before he worked at Hosterian. Can you tell us a little bit why you thought that text messaging was bad? And maybe
absolutely.
If you're thinking about text messaging and you're like, man, that's not for my business. Brian thought the same thing when he was doing insurance. So
for me, I was in the insurance industry for about 10 years. I was licensed in 35 different states for property and casualty and life and health. And for non-insurance people, that's auto, home, and life insurance. Okay, so all the insurances I was able to sell. And for me personally, which I think that was part of the issue, it was a personal issue that I brought inside of my business versus just being professional and being, business-minded. I was so concerned that I didn't want to do anything that made me feel or look unprofessional. I know when people are looking for insurance, like people are so into just looking for ways to say, I don't want to do business with you.
Right.
And I didn't want unprofessionalism to be something that someone would say. So as soon as I would send a text message, I would say, okay, well, let me call you, or let me, what's your email? Let me just shoot you over an email. And part of that being unprofessional, I wanted to make sure I could track it. If I get audited, or if you're an insurance agent, you work in an industry that is highly regulated, like insurance is, you have to have a lot of proof, right? So you have to follow through and provide information saying that, okay, well, how did you know this product fit that person? Did you do your checks and balances to make sure? And I know I feel really old right now saying this, but back then, it was harder to get text messages, right? Because you had to contact the carrier, go through all this paperwork,
right,
and to get a document saying this was a text message from this number at this time frame. It was a lot of work to do that. And insurance was hard enough. I'm like, you know what? This is going to make another hurdle for me. I'm just going to email or call. No business through text message. And that was my mindset on it.
Right.
And obviously now looking back on it, I'm like, oh my gosh, that probably would have changed a lot of things.
Yeah.
Right. So, especially dealing with the people that I dealt with, my age group around people.
Right.
My age group, that is.
At Hosterian, it's a challenge. Like, what would we use text messaging for, right? And we're implementing it more and more. Hosterian's, we've been around for 20 years doing web hosting, and web hosting used to be really exciting, but now it's kind of boring. Not a whole lot of changes happen, and we can write scripts that get a little spammy, but we've introduced it into our environment. A big problem that we have is we just don't have a lot of text messages, a lot of people's cell phones numbers, right? We have their business landlines. But I think even more so, business landlines are becoming text messaging available with them as more people are moving to the cloud. Along with that,
Voice over IP, a lot of those services are now available. You have options like that.
Right. So what we found is that our clients will literally hit me up on Facebook and ask me questions. I'm like, well, so we offer now text messaging for support calls, right? So instead of picking up the phone and saying, hey, my server's down, or I need help with WordPress, they can literally just text message the same line and start talking with one of the text over text message, which is huge, right? Obviously, our texts aren't on a phone; they use Magic Text.
Or is it Zipwhip? Yeah.
So we're making the move from Zipwhip to Magic Text for a couple. They're both great pieces of software. I use another one for my sons. I created a text messaging app for my son.
What's that?
It's pretty good. My son's nonverbal autistic and he's a runner, right? He likes to escape. So I bought these Flick buttons, FLIK.com, or not, FLAK.co, I think. They're flick buttons, and I made a little button that you push, and it texts me and his mom. So it's in his classroom, and the teacher just pushes a button that says, "Hey, we're taking Joe for a walk," and that gives us a text message that lets us know that if the GPS breaches, that we know why, right?
Don't freak out.
Yeah, I mean it's a very not commercial way to use text messaging, but it shows kind of the power of what text messaging can do right now. So, and we deployed it in a situation that wasn't, we know it's not foolproof. We know it can have errors, but it's a peace of mind that if the button gets hit and then we see him leave the school, that we know why. So we're not calling the school and saying, "Hey, what's going on?"
Right.
Right. So
they kind of go back to, I know we keep talking, keep bringing back to the other question, right? Like, why text messaging? And it's funny, I don't know why I just thought about it now after just hearing that story, like what other ways have you used it? I remember now dealing with a couple of clients who just said, texting's better for me. Right? Like,
right.
I literally have clients right now say, "Listen, I don't check my emails very often. So if you just shoot me a text, let me know that you sent it, right, then I'll go check it."
Well, I know that, I don't work at Tidal. I work full-time at Posterion, but my wife does work at Tidal pretty much full-time. And I know that she'll be, and Tidal uses just no, they don't use Zipwhip. They use Google Hangouts for the text messaging because they use Google Fi. So, and it's on all the phones and everything, but she'll be on, messaging with clients at, 10, 11 o'clock at night, or potential clients at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, dealing with, and sending them links to the contracts over text messaging.
So, I mean, it just, there's so many reasons why you should. It's almost like, well, why not, right? There's so many different possibilities of things you can do. And when,
I think the why not is just if you're too aggressive with it, would be a why not. You don't want to push too hard and get in the spam folder. So I know I'm on Google. I use Google Fi, and I'm in their beta program, and I've started getting. I now have the spam detection for my text messages as well. So they've done a great job of getting rid of a lot of phone calls for me, but I also now see possible spam in my text message system too. So that's right around the corner. So you want to be very mindful when you're using text messages in your business. You want them to be actionable things for your potential clients, people that you talk to. I don't think you want to just send it out to everybody, right? You don't want to do if you use it like people use mass marketing emails where they buy these giant lists and they just force text messages to them. You might have short-term success, but I don't think you're going to have long-term success with that.
So what are some ways you think that, people could use text messaging in a way where you're going to shoot it out in a mass group like that? Because one thing I've seen and read research and talked about with people is they put groups. Right. So it's okay, well, this group is my prospect group, or this is my current client group, or this is my on the fence group, or this is my opt-out group, right? The people don't want any text messages.
Right. So I just signed up for on Gary Vee's advice. I signed up for community, and my number. And Ron, go ahead and put that right here in editing. Later, not right now. Later, he's like,
what do I do?
Is 314-370-2871. That's my personal community text messaging number. You can't call me on that. It's just straight text messaging, 370-2871, area code 314. And one of the things that they have in there just right out of the gate is birthdays. So I can set it up to automatically every morning, if I wanted to, I could wake up, make a quick little happy birthday video. Happy birthday, guys. Keep crushing it today. And then send that text message out as a happy birthday. I don't know how well I'm a little aggravated with birthdays right now because I think Facebook has just created an environment about birthdays that people have anxiety about them. So I know a lot of people are turning off their birthday inside of Facebook. Because they have this, they feel this obligation to answer every one of their friends that says happy birthday, right? And over the last couple of years, you get more happy birthdays than you've ever had in your entire life, right? 1,500. Yeah, it kind of feels good, but then sometimes it's like, man, it's my birthday. I just kind of want to chill out. I want to sit here and thank you, 50 times or 100 times. So, but I think the groups, telling people happy birthday is a great starting point. Letting them know that invoices are due, letting them know, hey, I sent you a proposal, and whenever you're ready, go ahead and send it back. I wouldn't do like, bam, 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 do that every day. I have a couple of vendors that do that to me, and it's aggravating. I'm like, just chill. I'll get it done when I get it done, right? This is my time frame, not yours. Is a great way to do it. I think also whenever you have new products, right? I would do this a little more sparingly, but if you have a new product launch,
like a sneak peek,
right? And special discounts. So Gary Vee just gives me, he just shoots in there and does little advice tidbits about about his products and services. So that would be a great one. If they sign up on mine, I plan on definitely saying, hey guys, podcast is going live today, or a new podcast is out, or a new video's out, or a new how-to.
So updates.
Some updates, right? Those kinds of things.
That'd be a great thing to text message, right? Say your website is down, or maybe something's happening in your business and you need to let everyone know. You can text them.
Correct.
You can text them and say, listen, this is going on. It'll be okay later, or contact this for help, or whatever the case may be.
Right.
A good way to reach people really quickly.
I also like using text messaging for charity events. If I'm doing a big event, promotion for a charity event, we do Gateway. I think it's Gateway Guardians. It's a pet rescue animal thing I do once a year, and text messaging out everybody, hey, the event's coming up this week. Here's the link to donate, or if you want to come to the event, that's great. I'm also sitting on the board of a autism charity, and I don't know why I did that. It's a real charity, but they do poker tournaments every month now. It used to be an annual poker tournament, but now that COVID hit, you can't do the annual, or you can't do on-site poker tournament, so they brought it online. And using text messaging to let people know, hey, new signups are open for next month's tournament, and then also just sending that text message, hey guys, tournament's getting ready to start in 15 minutes. Make sure you're at your computer, right? Just give that update, because it's with you everywhere, and most people aren't turning their alerts off on their text messages, right?
I'm looking forward to it.
I have my alerts turned off on my email because I don't really have a choice. It would just be dinging on some like a casino, but on my text messages, it's vendors that I have a relationship with, or friends and family. Those are really the only two people.
You definitely think it's more of a personal connection to me, I feel like it's a personal connection with doing a text message over email.
Absolutely.
That's exactly what I feel.
They know my phone number.
Right. Right. That's what people know my phone number.
Everybody's got my email address, but not everybody has my phone number.
Right. So another way to basically humanize your business and make them more of a real meaningful connection with someone, text messaging.
Absolutely.
We have Abdullah that asks a question that, what is the most innovative ways to text message in business? And we kind of mentioned some of those. I definitely want to give him a shout out and talk about that. Did we mention coupons yet?
Coupons would be a special offer, right?
Special offer would be a good way to get in front of your prospects, or even
I think if you want to talk about innovation, what we're seeing this right now in Facebook, and I think you're going to see it more and more in text messaging as the applications get more and more robust, is artificial intelligence. Or I don't like calling it artificial intelligence, I call it augmented intelligence, because you still have to feed the program the data.
Right.
But it wouldn't be, it's not that unheard of, or it wouldn't be that complicated to create the applications wrapped around, if I get a text message, they send the business a text message, to have some auto replies already in the can, right? So, hey, what are your hours? To automatically respond to them with, here's the hours of operation. So looking for keywords and automatically responding. So reducing your staff by automating a lot of the responses. What's your location? And then just put the address right back out to them. So, there's probably, for any business,
your FAQs basically.
Right, all of your FAQs. If you can program them into whatever system you're using to auto reply,
that would be clutch.
Then you can get to the point to where you're more automated. You can write them in such a way that it seems like a real person's answering them, and save yourself a whole lot of time and energy on staff answering those calls. Right, I'm a big fan of anything that you can get automated. Automate, as long as it doesn't remove the personal touch of customer service.
Well, that's the key, right?
Right.
How do you write that message in a way where it still feels like a real person's doing it?
Right. And I feel like, and then you have all these other hurdles, right? So for a gym that's in a local area, it's pretty easy, right? You can pretty much assume everybody speaks English, right? And so you can just, focus on the one language. But I've seen a lot of and I've run into this problem myself when I'm outsourcing labor overseas, that whoever I'm outsourcing to doesn't speak great English or doesn't type great English. Yeah. Not that I'm the best English guy, I'm pretty bad at the language. I can talk good, but I don't know the language very well.
Yeah, my grammar's the best, right?
Yeah. So, but when they're misplacing words and syllables and things, it's pretty obvious that it's a machine doing it, or it's a bot, right? So you don't want to make bots that are really obviously, or if you do, own it, right? Say, hey, I'm the the Hosterian bot, and I'm going to answer some questions for you. And if you want to talk to somebody, a real person, click the other button to talk to somebody real.
I think that's important in all part of business, not even just text messaging.
Transparency.
You have to be transparent.
Yes, and as much as you possibly can.
Right.
Transparency across the board, right?
I mean, what a faster way to destroy your credibility, ruin trust right off the bat by not being transparent.
Right. So if you do create a bot, other than, I think it's expected for FAQs, like the basic stuff, what's your address, what are your office hours? Those are very easy things to create bots for. But outside of that, and more in-depth stuff, I would say get that to a real person so that you can start building that relationship with the potential client as soon as possible.
Right. I mean, because I again, me personally, I love doing business with a business that is not treating me like a number.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Right.
Like I'm a real person, that I have feelings and thoughts, right? Emotions just like everybody else, and just some kind of acknowledgement
right.
that I'm sharing my time with them.
Right.
Right. So I think that would be a beautiful thing to do right now.
Yeah.
With all the things going on in our country right now, like just showing people just some real authentic love.
Right. I think another one, and I don't think enough companies focus on Net Promoter Score, right? Which is what your customers feel about you. They look at, and it's a slightly different than Google reviews, right? Because Google reviews is 5 stars, but Net Promoter Score is how likely on a scale of 1 to 10 somebody is to just one question, how likely are you to refer my business to a friend or family, right? And it's just the one question. And we ask it to, at Hosterian, all of our clients just one time a year. Title does it very frequently. I think they do it every 3 months.
Okay.
Right, but they're in a different business, right? They're selling franchises, so they want that high Net Promoter Score for their sales process. But at Hosterian, we just do it once a year, and we do it through email right now. But I think we might be moving that to text and email, right? Because we don't have all of our clients' cell phone numbers, so we might still do a combination of both things. But sending out a text message for your Net Promoter Score, over a year would be...
That's another innovative way.
And that Net Promoter Score is just 1 through 10, right? How likely are you to refer me to a friend or family member, my business to a friend or family member, which is a great number to have, right? You want it higher in the 8s and 9s.
Wow. That's a loud statement right there, right?
Yes.
If I'm going to introduce you to my network, people I love and care about, that you definitely, for one, do your job.
Right.
You did it so well enough that I want to help you. I almost feel obligated that I want more people to share that experience with.
Right, and that's a very simple answer, right? So if you just texted that to your customer base, on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely would you be to refer me? They can just hit the number 8 or the number 10, right? They don't have to do and hit reply. They don't have to do a lot of work. Right?
There we go. We have another question here by Shantae. It is text messaging a powerful tool or annoyance?
I think it could be both, but we should embrace it as a powerful tool, right?
So how do you embrace it as a powerful tool, right? There's there's guidelines to when, how, what to do.
So, and there's different segments of your business, right? So on the sales guys or sales people will adopt anything that helps them get sales. Right. So if it wants to be, is it going to be for inside your business as a tool or an annoyance? Inside your business, your sales guys are going to adopt it really quickly because they get answers back from real people. Your support staff is still going to lean probably on emails and phone calls because it's what they're used to. So once the clients start coming in via text, it's over, right? And once a client knows, hey, I can get support from this company in text, then that's what they use. For some reason, and I don't know the psychology behind this, if I'm out and about in the world, I'm at a restaurant, I have zero problems sending somebody a quick text because the expectation of typos and things like that are accepted. But, to sit down and write an email, I'm not going to do it. Right? I'm going to wait until I get back and I have my keyboard and I'm nice and comfortable at my desk and I'm going to write that email. I'm going to take a little more time because, when it used to be, I'd write a letter and then I'd do a memo and then it went to email. And then the expectation for email was pretty low in the beginning, right? Like
I used to love getting emails back in the day.
I used to send an email like, done. I would say nothing but just the word done, right? And now, now it's emails replace the letter and text messaging is replacing the email, right? And I think we're going to see more of and it's going to be way more splintered long term, right? Because it's going to be Messenger, Snapchat, TikTok, all the different platforms.
Whatever the new platforms.
Whatever the new platform is, right? Text messaging is probably going to be the next biggest communication tool. But I'm not surprised, if there's, 4 months after that, 4 months down the road, if a new WhatsApp comes out or something along those lines, it just blows it out of the water.
I mean, I think you brought up a really good point, though, is that you have to be able to adapt.
Absolutely.
I think that's something that a lot of business owners struggle with, is rolling with the flow. Like punches come,
right.
They want to act like you just didn't get hit in the mouth. No, you got hit. It's okay, right? But you can't just ignore getting hit in the face. You have to defend yourself, so to speak, right? So know that this is happening, address that it's happening, and come up with some kind of like SOP, some kind of plan.
Standard operating procedure.
Yes.
What SOP is, you should have a whole book of them. But SOP is standard operating procedure.
Right. You have to have some kind of plan so if this happens again, that you don't get hit in the mouth again. Right.
So how would you create an SOP around adopting new technology?
That's tough. That's tough. I think it has to be something about just recognizing the trends, recognizing the trend of what's going on in the community, recognize the trends of your competitors. Because a lot of times, no one's really, not to say no one, but people are, for the most part, everyone's not creating the wheel. There's copying the wheel. Right. So if you pay attention to your competitors, they'll let you know what's going on. The ones that are crushing it, obviously, you want to look in on them and see what they're doing. Yes. The whole Bill Belichick, right? I didn't know I couldn't record the practice team.
I'm actually fascinated that we're talking about text messaging in 2020 as if it's a new thing, right? It's new technology, but we're just using old technology differently. Because I remember, I can go all the way back to 96. I worked at WashU. No, I worked at Washington University, and I attended class there, and I had 2 pagers and a cell phone in 95, 96, right? So I had an alphanumeric pager, I had just a regular pager, and I had my cell phone.
Oh, man.
Right? But I would get, you'd have to hit, 3 times. You had to hit it to get the alphanumeric text message. And that was back then, right? But then not very shortly after 96, we started getting regular, the little kick flips and stuff like that.
Yeah, I remember I got my first phone. I'm like, it's like a keyboard in my hand.
Yeah.
So excited. So,
this is, 20-year-old technology. We're just now using it for business for what really feels like the first time, which is so bizarre to me because it should have been adopted for business a long time ago. I think the introduction of SIP, SIP is online phones or internet phones, voice over IP. That becoming more and more popular has allowed more applications to be built to support text messaging, right? Because prior to almost all phones being on the internet phones or VoIP phones, voice over IP phones, it was hard to integrate with text messaging services. You had to have a text messaging gateway, and it was a big investment, right? So, but now you can get a community.com account for $50 a month. We have Hosterian's partnered with Magic Text, which, we give a 14-day free trial to anybody that wants to try out Magic Text, and we'll put the link in the bottom where you can just check out hosterian.com and check it out. It's a 14-day trial, and it's like a couple cents a text message to send, and And I think they start you with 40 cents. So you can probably try.
You can pay per text.
Right, you can pay per text. So there's literally no barrier to entry anymore, right? Where it used to be a big barrier to entry. And I guess that's why we're seeing more businesses start to adopt using text messaging.
People just on their phones all the time, right?
It's always there, right? It's more important than my wallet at this point, right?
I mean, my phone is my wallet.
Right.
I mean, I have my GPay on my phone, and I use my phone to pay. And I remember when I did that for the first time, I was so scared about it. I was so scared I was going to walk past something and pay for somebody's stuff. Like it's not a code or something like that for it. But like the phone, it does so many amazing things. And being that you can communicate in so many different ways, why not use one of the ways that people already use all the time to communicate?
Correct.
Right? I mean, how many texts did you send today?
Text messages that I sent today? I don't even know.
It's probably more than 10.
I definitely had more text conversations today than I had phone conversations.
That's
right?
crazy.
By far. And I probably had a couple of Facebook text messages, messages back and forth, which I'd like to say that, text, we say text messaging and we think of SMS, or traditional text from phone, but I wouldn't discount the power of messaging on any of the platforms that are out there. Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp,
Google
or TikTok,
Hangouts.
right? Hangouts, all of those things, right? Utilizing all of those things. What we're really talking about is ways for the business to reach the consumer. And the consumer uses text messaging. The consumer uses all of those applications. So going forward in business, I would recommend looking for products and services that allow you to talk to your clients on the platforms with the technology that they use, right? Instead of this whole, we send email invoices. That's how we do it, right? Well, why not have a world that says, hey, how do you want to see your invoice? Do you want to, it sounds insane, but why not get your, if you have a B2C product, why not let them get their invoice through TikTok? And why not let them pay you through Cash App? Right? Why not? If you have a B2C business, why wouldn't you allow for that kind of functionality for your client base, right? I come to the world of, I'll talk to you any way you want me to talk to you, and I'll let you pay me any way you want to, right? Or within reason, as long as the fees aren't too high.
It goes back to the why question again, right? It's like when people say why text message, because that's how people communicate. If your clients are texting all the time, or if your clients are on Facebook all the time, why not let them talk to you through Facebook?
I think you can answer the question as easily with another question of, if somebody said, why would I use text messaging for my business? I would say, for the same reason you use English. Right? It's the language your customers speak. Right? That's right. They're there. That's what they're using. It would be as odd not to use text messaging to me as to speak an English-speaking person in German.
Absolutely.
Right? Because it's where they're at, it's what they're using, and it's how they talk.
Right. So I do want to go back here for a second to kind of, go get back into the question of is texting a powerful tool or is it annoying?
What's up, Courtney? Good to see you.
What's up, woo woo? Is that, there still are some things that have to be done to text people, right? Like you can't just start texting willy nilly, or you could get yourself in a lot of trouble.
Right.
Right. So one of the first things I actually want to, throw out there to anyone that is thinking about using text messaging for your business is that you have to ask permission first. You can't just start texting people.
No, I wouldn't do that at all. Right.
Right. So there has to be some kind of way that, whether it's on your website or whether it's on a receipt, or someplace somewhere that you're notifying that you're going to send them a text.
Right.
And then also make sure it's not going to be an annoyance for someone. You also have to make sure that you have the opt-out.
Yes. Which all the major apps have that built in, right? Community has that built in. ZipWhip has that built in. I've used Call 'em All before. It's got built in. So most of those guys have that stuff built in to opt out.
If I think about the only annoyance of a text message I've ever received was during the election.
Yes. And most of those go to my junk. Right? So
I got to the point where I'm sending them back. I'm like, listen, they're like, say stop if you don't want any more. I'm like, stop and then tell your friends.
Right.
Because I don't want any more.
Right.
I don't want any more.
So I do deal with a guy in Pakistan right now, and he is overly burdensome on his text messaging. Right. He texts me 3 or 4 times a day, asking me if I want to buy more. And I'm like, I do want to buy more, But he texts me so much that I'm almost like, man, I don't know if I want to continue doing business with this guy because I'm literally getting 4 and 5 text messages from every day asking me, is your design done yet? Is your design done yet? Or, just these constant, almost like nagging questions to me, right? Like, we've talked, we've got the price, I'm working on the designs, and designs take a while, right?
Yeah.
It takes a while to get through that stuff. It's not
a process.
Yeah, it's a process, and it's unfortunately, it's a subjective process. So it's not something I can get done very quickly, and he just constantly hounds me. I did just remember on the innovation side, and this is just a little trick that you can do to get people into your text messaging system, and I think it's also a great way on your ads. So if you have the concept of an asset magnet, and if you've read Systematic Revenue, you know what I'm talking about, but I'll explain an asset magnet really quick. It's just any kind of article that you have or data you have, giveaway. A 14-day free trial would be an asset magnet. We did one for a divorce attorney that we did. The asset magnet is the 40 things that you need to think about before you file for divorce, right? Click here to download now. A trick that we just recently learned is in your Facebook or Instagram ad or whatever ad that you have, when you're giving that away, that coupon code away, or you're giving some download away, instead of say, click here to get, and then redirecting them to a page, in your ad say, click here and to get this free guide. I'm trying to think of a great one. I did last year. I gave away a Beats Audio as a giveaway, and that was a way to get subscribers.
Asset type of thing.
Yeah. So I was trying to, I was just trying to get people interested in our product. So we did a contest for a Beats Audio pill, and what I would do now is I would say fill out the form for your entry, and you'll be into your cell phone number, and you'll be text messaged when you win. Right. So then you're also getting you're getting their phone number that's good for text messaging as well. So what we're doing right now is we're converting the lawyer's ad from download this form here to fill out this form, and I will text you the 40 tips, the lists, right? The list. So it's a good way to start obtaining that list and getting those followers into your system to send them text messages. So instead of just sending them to a URL or something like that, say, hey, give me your phone number.
Give it right to you.
And I'll give it to you.
I'll do the legwork for you.
And once somebody starts seeing your name more, they're more likely to buy from you. And if your phone number's coming up in their caller ID and it's showing your business name properly, then, well, you're on their phone. You're friends.
You're a contact now, right?
Yeah. So if you're a plumber and you did that, right? And, hey, download this video on how to fix your sink for under $15 or whatever it is. Then if you have their phone number and you send them a text message, what do you think is going to happen the next time they have a plumbing issue? They're going to go, oh, that plumber texted me something.
Right.
You're already in their phone. They don't have to go to Google and look for you. People are going to do whatever's easiest for them. And I know that you think that it's easy to go to Google and say plumber's near me, but it's even easier if your phone number's already in their phone.
Well, it's even easier to get shared.
Yes.
Right. So if I have a buddy that's looking for a plumber, I'm like, oh, I got one right here. He just texted me the other day.
Right. Happens all the time, right?
Send it right to you.
The groups like I know a guy, I know a gal.
Yeah.
Those kinds of groups.
Love those groups.
Right. I see pretty regularly on Facebook people saying, hey, does anybody have a reference for this person? So, and they refer the person that they've either done recent business with or the person that's top of mind. So if you can say top of mind, that's fantastic.
So I think that also kind of answers the question of, is it a powerful tool or is it an annoyance? Because an annoyance is really subjective. Right. Because when you think about your example, you're saying this guy was texting you a lot. It wasn't the text message you were annoyed with. You were
annoyed with
the question.
Yes.
He was asking. It wasn't the text.
Absolutely.
Right. So it's completely subjective to how you use this. And just like anything, right? Anything can be a tool or not, depending on how you use it.
Right.
Anything in the world.
But you have to use it in your business. The key inside your business, and this is not just text messaging, this is all new technology, is you have to figure out a way to get your staff to adopt it. If your staff does not adopt it,
that's true.
Then it's going to be a failure. Sales teams are easy to adopt. That's not a problem. Tech teams, it's going to be a little more challenge, right? So make sure that you work with them and they kind of understand what the benefits are, how powerful it is. And the second that they realize that, oh, this is easier, they're going to adopt it, right? Because that's just human nature. People are going to do what's easiest for them. So
even if they say they won't, they're going to do it anyway.
Right. and you'll find people going rogue. You know, at Hosterian, we have a problem. People using text messaging, but the bigger issue is that the text messaging, they're not using the approved platforms. So our customers like to text message so much that they're now messaging specific employees inside their Facebook chat. They're text messaging individual employees, and all that data gets lost from the company, and it's isolated in these silos. So if you run a tech company, I would highly recommend getting text messaging implemented into your entire staff as soon as possible, so you don't end up with these silos of information that are in an employee's cell phone's text messages instead of inside your text message app, text magic app, or your ZipWhip app. Right.
That could be problematic. In fact, that was one of my concerns in insurance, is that if it's in my phone, I can't get access to it when I need it if I get audited.
Right. You definitely don't want your sales reps using their personal cell phone
for texting,
right? So you want to make sure that they have the right tools on their phone to text as the business, not the individual. And I think the days of buying, people having two cell phones, I think that's over. I don't see it very much anymore.
I think it's about over. I mean, even when I was in insurance, I had my voice over IP phone line, and I just downloaded the app on my phone.
Right.
And then I could just switch back and forth.
I have some friends still that work for the Fortune 500s that still have that, work phone.
But I think some people do
it. Personal phone.
Some people do it for the fact that if they surf the web on their phone, their business would know everything they're surfing on the web.
True.
Right. So they wouldn't have a different phone their business is paying for, their company's paying for it, because they want to have some kind of privacy still.
Right.
Right. Which I absolutely get that.
Totally understand. So,
right.
But I think that if you need a reason why to use text messaging in your business, the first reason is your business is already using text messaging if you like it or not. It's just, if you're not supplying a tool for your staff to use text messaging, then you're creating these silos, and it's happening inside your employees' phones. Regardless if you pay for them or not. But I know from experience that even if you can go, if an employee is doing that, even though it's against the rules, and you go to court and try to get that phone from them, you're probably not going to. I know that from experience.
So you're literally creating a blind spot.
You're creating a giant blind spot or multiple small blind spots in your company if you don't find a way to deploy it and manage those data streams for your business.
Right.
Which is a much deeper reason to use it than because your clients are there.
Right. And it doesn't get much easier than that. If you can download the app on anyone's phone, anyone can use it.
Right.
Right. And then you can also download the app on your computer.
And I know the three big ones we've been talking about, Google Hangouts, TextMagic, and ZipWhip all have those functions.
App, you can do it on there.
Yes.
I remember I used Ring Central for my insurance, and one of the things I really liked about it is that I had a phone line on there, but I also could connect my email and go right from my email, and I could text on there.
Right.
All in the same app.
And to be totally transparent here, the only one of those that Hosterian's partnered with is TextMagic.
Yeah.
Right. We still use ZipWhip, but we're transitioning over because we have a partnership with TextMagic. ZipWhip's a great asset, right? It's a great tool. We used it for a long time, actually. We're doing the transition because we have a partnership with TextMagic. At the end of the day, they're all about the same, right? They're about the same features and stuff like that. Community.com does have some different kinds of features, but it's more of a one-to-many kind of deal. I'm not seeing much in there for like supporting multiple clients with multiple different help desk staff. But definitely interesting. I don't know enough about community.com to talk about it. I literally just got my account this week, so I don't even have a single subscriber yet. So be my first subscriber, and I'll let you know if you are. Outside of that, I wouldn't say one's better than the other. I would say try them all out. They all have trials. Most of them do. I know TextMagic has a 14-day trial.
Right.
I don't know what ZipWhip's trial is.
I don't know what theirs is either.
Community didn't seem to have a trial.
It's just like everything in life, right? I mean, I can't sit here and say like Nike's the best shoe or Adidas is the best shoe. I mean,
well, I can say Adidas is the best shoe, At least, I don't know if I can say Adidas is the best shoe, but Adidas is definitely the best shoe for me.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. That was the point I was trying to get at. It's all about you, right?
I don't have hard lines on many things, but Android and Adidas are two pretty hard lines.
Android is the best phone ever. That's another topic.
Right. And Ali's the greatest boxer of all time. So
yes,
those are my hard lines that I draw to say that everything else can be in the gray, and I'm happy with that. But
so at the end of the day, when you're trying to choose which the app to go with, I think it makes sense to use one that has a trial for one, so you can at least take a chance to look at it, play around with it, see how it works for your business.
But even then, none of these apps are so wildly expensive. I will tell you, I did not like the sales process for ZipWhip. They made it really hard for me to buy. Right, it was a challenge for me to buy that product from them. Other than that,
what happened to your sales process?
It was just really odd, right? I had to talk to a person. I couldn't sign up. It felt like I had to go through this whole presentation process that they wanted me to go through.
I think I remember that.
Yeah. So actually, what happened with that is I've been using ZipWhip and Tidal for a couple of years, and we wanted to start implementing text message at Posterion more. And so I'm like, well, that's what we use there, so we might as well just use it here because I already knew it. And I called the sales. I tried to call the sales line. I didn't get a hold of them. And this would be a sales tip for if you're out there just selling products in general. I'm like, I just want to buy the product. I'm like, well, you can't. You got to go through this. I'm like, what do you mean I can't just buy the product? And he's like, well, I got to get you over to a sales rep. I'm like, okay, well, let me talk to a sales rep.
Oh, where did that sound?
And like, well, I got to make an appointment with the sales rep. I'm like, okay, but I know exactly what I want. Why can't I just buy it? I'm like, we got to do the demo. And I'm like, well, I already know. I have the product in a different business already. I don't need the demo. I just want to buy it. And I think that would work great if you had never had any experience with it. But for me, having it with one business, wanting to add it to another business, it was really, it was frustrating. And then the fact that they didn't have any affiliate kind of program at all is why we decided to move to Start Magic as our partner. Because there's just no way to partner with ZipWhip that we knew of. And if there is a way to partner with ZipWhip and you're watching, let us know, and we might talk. But and so now I'm still promoting ZipWhip because it's a great tool. So is Text Magic, and so is Google Hangouts, right? I mean, it's kind of hard to beat Google Hangouts. Google Hangouts is free, so
almost everybody has a Google account anyway.
Yes, so you can text message directly to people's phones from your desktop with Google Hangouts. It's a great tool. I guess the other one that I use that we haven't talked about at all, but I don't use it that much, is Skype. And I only use it for people that use specifically Skype.
Only time I usually use Skype is for people that are out of the country, usually. That's my experience personally.
I use Skype with a couple programmers that live in the United States, but I think it's because they talk to people a lot out of the country. So, but...
Yeah. What was the other one I used? There was one I used for my brother in China, because they had a lot of regulations.
Right. There wasn't too many different ones. Because
so
I remember the name
if you're using text messaging for your business and you have some unique way that you're doing it, let us know, right?
Yeah,
if you have to talk about it. If you have any questions about technology and ways to use your website to help get business into your door, or vice versa, if you have a brick and mortar, you're looking for tips and tricks on how to get more traffic to your website and sell your brick and mortar merchandise online, hit us up. Let me know. My email address is ken.cox, C-O-X, at Posterion, HOSTIRIAN.com. If you want to text me personally, 314-370-2871. Ron will put all that stuff across the screen, really big flashing here later. He's laughing at me. Brian, you want to give me your contact info?
Absolutely. You can also text Posterion, right? At 314-216-2040. Okay. And you can also email myself at Brian, BRIAN.Montgomery, MONTGOMERY at Posterion.com. We do have obviously a partnership with Text Magic. So if you're looking for, you don't know where to start at, let us know, text or email, and we can set you up with a trial and kind of walk you through how to set everything up and give you a couple more, tips and tricks to, first starting off.
Let me get set the buttons on your website, whatever you need.
Right. Integrating your website, all that kind of good stuff. And if you have questions about just texting in general, don't be afraid to either, text, email, or comment on this afterwards. We'll still come back and check it out,
So what's going to happen now is that this episode is going to go into editing, and Ron's going to edit it, make it all nice and pretty. It'll be on our YouTube channel and our website next week, along with Apple and all the other places that you listen to your podcast. So we're gonna publish it on. I have the list at my desk. I forget what it all is, but it's the major place that you listen to podcasts. And we'll be live again next Tuesday at 5 p.m. Central Time. And so you get to watch us live, and then we'll package it all up, and the podcast will be available the next Tuesday. So do we know what next Tuesday's topic is?
Let's see here. Let me go back. Buying ads or organic reach.
Okay, so next week we're going to be talking about, should I buy ads or work on organic reach? Both of them are very powerful, but we'll talk about that all next week. If you have any questions between now and then about that particular topic, feel free to let us know, and we'll see you next week.
Oh, and before we do that, I got one more thing I thought about.
Okay.
If you have a topic that you want us to talk about, don't be afraid to let us know, because we're always looking for more questions and more topics, because this podcast is for you.
Yes. Or if you want to be on the podcast, let us know. If you want to be a guest.
That too.
You can come. We're in Maryland Heights, Missouri. You want to come into the office and be live, or we can also, I think by next week we'll be able to do Zoom as well. So either way you want to jump in, let us know, and we're happy to have you.
All right. So I think that's wrapping up here for today. Make it count and
get to work.
That's what I'm talking about. All right. We'll see y'all next time.